All right. So section 3 in CIT 48A. And at this point in the real world, it is week 2, and I have read several of your posts about the roadmap for cybersecurity, and I think most of you have found it helpful. The one feedback I would give you is one thing I don't say is I don't give a word length for how long you should write, but I do look for substantive posts. And sometimes substantive just means you have to write a little more. But really, what I look for is did you give it enough thought? And often that means you got to watch the whole thing. And I'm thinking some of you may not have done that. So know that if my feedback said that, that's probably what you want to do. I even said maybe go look at the exam at the end. So I'm looking for substantive post and substantive replies. Okay. Most of you, though, did fine on that. And I think from reading it, it seemed like most of you enjoyed it. So, the one thing that Network Chuck talked about was it Network Chuck or Chuck Network? I don't remember. One of the things he talked about was programming, and this week is all about programming. So I'm excited because it's the thing that I teach here at City. I teach the web stack. Okay. Now he's talking about Python. Python is a programming language that we use in the web development field. We use it in data science. We use it for cybersecurity. But learning to program is just a good thing to do along the way. So, one thing I'm going to do today, and it's a little bit, well, it's called a shameless plug, is that I teach in this semester in the back 9. So, we're in the front 9, the first 9 weeks of the semester. In the back 9 weeks of the semester, I have a class, Introduction to Web Development. There's actually a section going right now, and then we have another one at the end. And what do you learn? This is a mostly project based class where you learn about simple introduction to HTML, CSS. You get introduced to frameworks. Probably for you, that thing that might be interesting is a little bit of a programming, but also a dev environment. So I teach students about GitHub and about how to create repos and how to clone those things locally, which is a very common thing in cybersecurity because you're often using somebody else's code to accomplish something. So these are good skills. You end up creating a website, and those are whether you would want to do this for your portfolio or just have an understanding of it as you move forward in your career. So if you're interested in that class, I'll give you the section number. And if you want to ask me about it, please ask me about it. I love talking about web development in any way and programming. So, for this course in this week, you're going to have the videos that cover programming and then your regular, read the PDF and do that. So it's all focused on programming. So I think it's a good companion to what we looked at in the discussion. But I want to go over that and just talk a bit about the actual discussion this week. Because this week you're going to do what's called a peer review, and you will actually end up seeing what I saw, which is how many of you were selecting the darknet diaries and how many of you were doing regular essays. It's kind of interesting. I think I figured out it was about a 65 to 35 split. So more of you selecting the darknet diaries, and as I said before, that's still an assignment I'm just working out a few of the kinks on, and I look forward to seeing this week in week 3. You will actually be sharing that with everybody in the class, but by the time we've gotten to week 3, I will have already seen your drafts. And yes, I do send those things through turnitin.com. Now, I do want to say a word because I looked at what I posted for this section 3 last semester. And last semester I was talking about artificial intelligence and how it relates to programming and how it's changing programming because we're flipping the whole idea of writing how we write code to actually create models. And this is something called machine learning. It is a type of artificial intelligence. But since that time, and I actually included that video just as kind of you don't have to watch it, but if you're interested. But since that time of recording it just last semester, the whole chat GPT thing has blown up. And it is it is amazing to see how quickly it is becoming just a part of our natural discussion. I have so many discussions now with people I meet about chat gpt. Here's what it is in general. It's a website. You can sign up. It's a part of the open ai. OpenAI is a company. Microsoft just did, I think, a $10 billion investment into them, and Elon Musk helped start it. And it's the idea of that we open up AI versus companies having it and using it only for their benefit. Is that we can all use it, and boy, are we seeing that right now. So and I actually said, if you caught this in week one about your essay, is using it to write your essay is academic dishonesty. But the thing I probably could have said is using it to help you research is totally fine. But because you research and start to understand, but we want it to be your writing. But here's what's going to happen in education: we're going to have to completely rethink the way we do this. This was part of why I was motivated to do the Darknet Diaries, honestly, because I thought, well, how the idea of writing an essay is so that you learn something new and you research it. Well, to me, that Darknet Diaries is a way of doing that because there's so much content in there. But it's a chat. So it's a chat AI to where you can prompt it and you ask questions and it gives you answers back. You could say, write an essay and da 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 da. Are you, in this case, related to coding? You could ask it to write code that outputs a certain type of algorithm or does a certain specific task. So some people think this is going to replace that we won't have a need for programmers. And I don't believe that, but maybe I'm in denial that I don't believe that because it's what I teach and it's what I do. But here's what I think it will do is it'll allow us to write better code, because often when we're writing code, we're just writing repetitive things. When we start a new project, we're writing that. And it also helps us know how to write something that we've never written before, to see examples and then come up with our own way of approaching that. But coding is often looking at somebody else's example, but so is researching, right? So the whole idea of what's happening around artificial intelligence and education and cybersecurity and so much more. It's going to change every aspect of our lives. It's the adoption we call it the how quickly something gets adopted. This has been the fastest thing so far. When they look back, like how long did it take for a certain amount of the population to get a cell phone, right? How long did it take for these certain metrics? And chat gpt is exponential, which tells you so much of what we need to know about this. Anyway, okay, so let me first tell you about the class, just to give that shameless plug for it. So it is CIT 82 Introduction to Web Development. It's running the second 9 weeks of the semester. So I'm not trying to, I'm just saying, if you have some in your schedule and you want to do a little more into understanding the web stack and a little more, it's not completely project based, but it's a lot project hands on based. It's completely online. If you want to know any more about that, let me know. So one of the things we do in that class, but in general, is set up a local dev environment. And these are repos, and you learn how to do command line interaction to move files from your local to GitHub. Also, like I said, doing a project site, but just learning. And I actually have an what call Copilot, which is another artificial intelligence. That one's from GitHub. Okay, so just enough of that. But now let's actually go and look at the course. Sorry. Not sure why my keyboard suddenly. Oh, I was on the same screen. No wonder. All right, let's look at what we have this week. So this week you're going to do a peer review for the writing that you did last week. And so here's what I want you to do. So it's basically the same writing, but because some of you chose the essay rough draft and some of you chose the first video for the Darknet Diaries, right? That you're writing about that. Here's what I want you to do. First, you're going to, this is step one, is in your reply. So in Canvas here, right? Is, are you satisfied with, in this case, if you were doing the darknet, it's the summary, right? If you're doing the research, it's the research. Are you happy with it, right? Are you satisfied with what you've done? What has changed? What has changed since you began your research or the summary, right? So, has something that you've heard changed you or just changed? What has changed? You could approach this different ways, and this is kind of asking that similar question is, do you look at things differently, right? So in your writing, right, again, substantive post here, answer these questions, right, about what the work that you've done. And now, as part of your step one, is you're actually going to share that. Okay, you're actually going to export, right? Because if you're using Word or if you're using Google Docs or whatever, all word processing programs, and I'll just show you in Word. I have it on my Mac here. Is I can do a save as. And actually, you've probably already done this for the assignment last time, but if you just want to see, you can also just say save as a PDF. You can also do print as a PDF. That's the other way to do it. Okay. So, however you do it, save the work that the rough draft or the writing summary, right? And then export to a PDF. And here's the key is upload it to the cloud like we did in week one, right? So for your videos, I don't care which cloud, whether it be Google, OneDrive, SharePoint, whatever it is that you can make it shareable. And I also talked about last week how to test to see if that shareable is set up correctly by using the incognito window. Okay, so if you're not sure about that, is go look for that. And so what you want to do is give us a link. Do not attach. Okay, so attach, what does that mean? So if you were in here and you were going to go attach, and if you attach that PDF, I mark you off for that, because part of what you're learning about is how to use the cloud. Because trust me, it's not the last time you're going to see the cloud. It's everywhere, and the more you learn how to navigate it and use it, the better. So I'm trying to integrate skills that you need to take away from this class. All right, so put the link, right? And that's the other thing, right? So if you were doing a link, right? So like as an example, if I said my draft here, right? And I was going to give the link, don't give the long URL, give the short one by putting some content, selecting it, and then come over in here and do an external link. Okay. And then here's where you would paste that long link. Like here's a Google Doc link, whatever. Okay. So, and if I did that, right, then that would be the link. So do this as always by Wednesday. By the time when I wake up on Thursday, I will already be reviewing these as you're posting them, and I'll try to give you the heads up. And sometimes I notice other students do as well. And then in your writing, you want to write your response to, right, about your progress that because if your essay, because you're gonna do your rough draft, you got feedback from me. Remember, I ran it through turnitin.com. I gave you some feedback if that was relevant. I've looked at it, but you're continuing to work on this essay. And if you're doing the Darknet Diaries, yeah, you're going to and doing that as well. And then by Thursday, right? Here's what I want you to do by the end of by Sunday, respond to two students about their essay. I should say research. Ask questions to clarify. So you can't just say, "Oh yeah, good job," right? Go substantive reply. Comment on any part of this, and then you can always help them, help your classmates to revise and perfect their papers, right? So the more specific you are, so try to, if you see a post that has 3 people already replying, then try to find posts where people haven't replied to give those folks help. Okay. All right. So I think that's it for this. Section 3. I know it was a little longer of a video, but I hope you found that content about AI, chat GPT, if you want to come in and talk to me about that stuff, I love to talk about that. If you want to talk to me about, and oh, here's what I would say. If you've made it to the end of the video, good job. Okay. not I'm plugging my class, but we have other classes here at City. I shouldn't be humbled to say we teach Python. Dennis Moll does a great job with Python. We teach Java. I teach JavaScript right now. Todd McLeod's teaching JavaScript, right? So we teach, like, next semester. I think I'm teaching React JS, which is a framework. So we have in the business, the business division programming classes, there's also CS classes. And I've noticed some of you are coming from the CS background. So that's great as well. Okay. So thanks. Talk to you later. Bye. Bye bye.